welcome back to Two Thirds for the Avengers Reserve podcast, episode 5. And as always, I'm delighted to be joined by a very well-studied sadboycare this time. How you doing, Kare?
Yes. I'm good. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. Yeah, like this is going to be an interesting episode because I
actually
like
did
we're
the
kind of talking
homework.
about Venom
I did
2.
the
I
homework.
was probably yeah, you've actually done your homework and I've just kind of rushed through it as quick as possible. But yeah, we're obviously going to be talking about the Eternals trailer that's recently come out. I think it came out on Monday, was it? Yeah?
Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah,
No,
it was either Sunday or Monday. I remember it was quite early on in the week. But
I thought it was whatever day we recorded
always
the
seem
last
to...
one, but...
Actually, you might be right on that.
It was like right after we stopped recording, I went on YouTube and I saw it. So...
Yeah. That always seems to happen as well when we record our episodes.
Yeah.
There's always something that pops up last minute. And I think next week will kind of be a little bit easier because we'll just be able to focus on just a Loki preview.
Yes.
And it will just be gathering bits and bobs of that. And I'm excited as well that there's very small parts of Loki that we're able to pick up in this trailer as well.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's gonna be... I don't know, because I don't know if the theories that we've seen about Loki and the Eternals kind of being linked are actually going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's cool that there's, like, kind of a parallel in both trailers, you know?
Yeah. I don't really know how much of it is really going to be, like, grasping at straws, I think is the right way to word it. But yeah, I think there is, a lot of potential for the way that the Eternals is set up, different parts of the MCU. And yeah, looking forward really to analysing this trailer with you. Just to sort of get your generic thoughts and opinions. When you first watched the trailer, what did you think?
I was very confused when I first watched the trailer, I'm not gonna lie. It took me until I watched a few like Easter egg things to actually understand a lot of what went on in that trailer. Because it kind of was just like a introduction to the characters in my mind when I first watched it.
Right.
Like, I just kind of was like, oh, it's just showing us all the characters and, like, kind of what they can do. And that's really about it. Because there wasn't really much about the storyline that you can grasp from just, like, watching it, like, one time through, I guess. Because it's a lot of just, like, showing the characters and then showing what they can do, but then you kind of get more storyline the more you think about it. I don't know. That's at least how I saw it.
No. Yeah, that's basically the way that I was seeing it. We'd spoken, I think, the week before that, like, we weren't expecting anything concrete. There wasn't anything that was going to be like, this is who the Eternals are, this is what all they do, blah, blah, blah. There was never going to be anything that sort of clear for us to break down. Had to do a little bit of digging for this one, but I enjoyed doing that. I'm glad that we did that sort of character in-depth
same
review or whatever you want to call it in last week's episode, because I feel like that's given us a good sort of base to analyse the characters in this trailer a little bit more, and you kind of know who is who. So yeah, let's kind of get into it really. So obviously the trailer starts where one of the points that I think I made in last week's is that I wanted to see the origins of the Eternals so that we kind of get that character development stage. So yeah, very excited to see this, giant sort of like triangle block ship turn up to a sort of ancient civilization. Yeah, I really liked it. I mean, it looks so simple, but so cool.
Yeah, well, in one of the breakdowns that I watched, there was a parallel between the 2001: A Space Odyssey with, like, the monolith and, like, the cavemen and, like, or the monkeys, I guess it was. And it's kind of, like, humankind's, like, first introduction to, like, new technology kind of stuff. And, like, they made, like, that parallel with the very, like, blocky monolith ship, which I think was kind of cool. But I think the ship is really cool. I think it looks really cool. I didn't know what it was at first. I was like, this is weird, but it's just like I love how like simple it is. And it's just like a I don't know. I just think it's so cool. Um
Yeah,
but
no.
yeah. I just
I
think
pretty much was exactly the same. I just liked the idea of it. There's a little bit more, obviously, to look into where the ship has come from, I think is what
yeah.
we'll leave it at for now. Has it come from up the sky or has it come from anywhere else? The
Yes.
decloaking
Yeah.
device was very cool because we've seen that in a couple of Marvel
Yeah.
productions now. The one that stands out is when they're on the ship in Avengers 1, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And they managed to decloak it. Or cloak it even. So yeah, I really enjoyed seeing that. I love that it was their technology available all those thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
And you also see the gold lines. That's going to be the sort of who the Eternals are. They
The,
all
like,
have this
cosmic
cosmic energy that we
yeah.
made fun of last week.
It looks really cool now. I don't hate it anymore. I promise. The one thing about the ship decloaking, though, that I wanted to say, I saw this one thing that was like, someone was talking about how back when like people were colonizing, and like
yes.
they would take ships to new worlds, and like the Native Americans saw these ships just kind of like come out of nowhere, and it was like really advanced technology for them. And it's kind of a similar like parallel to that as well, which I thought was really interesting. Like it kind of like like it's like it decloaks in the same way that like the ships would kind of like show up when people were colonizing. I don't know. I just thought that was really interesting. Like it was a really interesting point that someone brought up. Because like
I like that.
There's so much to like analyze in this. I'm gonna be super film geeky about it as well, because a lot of this analysis is like film geeky stuff. But
yeah,
I don't know. I just think it's so cool.
But that's a good perspective to kind of have, though. I mean, because we never really kind of like dive into those sort of things. Like we'll be like, oh, this shot from Falcon and the Winter Soldier was cool, things like that. So no, it would be good to get your kind of perspective on those things.
Yeah.
What did you make of the whole line, the whole gold lines and the carvings on the actual ship? I was kind of reminded when I watched another breakdown or review of the trailer that it is very similar to the symbols in Doctor Strange, I want to say.
Yeah. I do think that, like, the Doctor Strange, like, their ability to, like, manipulate energy from, like, different dimensions probably derives from the cosmic energy manipulation of the Eternals in some way. Yeah. Like, I think that there's definitely some connections to it, just because of like, what Fastos was doing with his, like, whole geometric, like, thing that he was making. Yeah. Like, I feel like there is definitely, like, a connection between the two forms of magic, I guess, or, like, energy manipulation, I guess. But.
Definitely. I mean, they mention in, I think it's Doctor Strange, that it's, like, you know, ancient sorcerer's arts and things like that, and the books are thousands of years old, so I think it's silly to, now that we've seen that trailer, now we are starting to understand a little bit more about the Eternals, it's silly to believe that the Eternals have had no influence on it, and we're definitely going to touch on that in a little bit. We're just going to touch on the song real quickly, because I thought that was a really, really interesting factor. Having the lyrics, don't know, it's the end of the world. Where were the Eternals? That's what we really want to talk about. Where were the Eternals through Infinity War, Endgame? Thoughts?
I have seen a few theories. I've seen one theory that I know you've seen, where Sprite is, and this goes into, like, comics and stuff, it goes into, like, Unimind, you know? Where there's a Prime Eternal? So it's, like, the one person who can actually initiate the Unimind, which is, like, where they put all their powers together and become one consciousness kind of thing. And I saw a theory that Sprite initiated the Unimind and then used the Unimind to wipe everyone's memories. so that they don't know that they are Eternals, or they don't know their like purpose in the world, really, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw another one that Druig somehow got a hold of the Unimind capability, like he became the Prime Eternal, because in the comics he tries to do that. He tries to like take over and become the Prime Eternal so that he can like manipulate the Eternals and like do things like that. So, and then he erased their memories so that they wouldn't influence any more like human technology the way they have been, because he doesn't like them interfering. He wants them to like live as the kind of primitive people that they found on Earth, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And also that is why he's like got that cult in the in the woods. I love that theory.
The cult.
That he started
I love
a cult.
it, yeah.
I really hope it's true. But yeah, I think that there's a few reasons why they didn't why they couldn't have like been there in Endgame. I think that the mind wipe is the most plausible, just from like the way that Cersei was kind of like remembering things throughout history. But I think it would also kind of be interesting if they didn't forget their place in the universe, but they also... No, I feel like they had to have. Because...
I think the mind wipe is very, very plausible. I think
that's
you know, it will definitely come out as a real explanation, a real turning point in the film. Why Sprite is kind of, you know, probably going to end up being the only one who can actually remember everything.
Yeah.
And I think that it just makes so much sense that she's, you know, wiped all of their minds and that they've all come together now when they're essentially most needed. And I think that's part of the Avengers and also obviously the Deviants coming out to play. Very excited. I love the idea that it could be Sprite. Druig is a new one. I haven't heard that theory just yet, but that would be an interesting one. It's like we said in the last episode that he is going to be a real mischievous character. Be interesting to find out.
I just already know that I'm gonna love him. I told you that before we were recording, and you were like, "What are you talking about?" I just know that I'm gonna love him, and I really hope that the cult thing is like a real thing, because I think that's really funny.
Yeah, I think it is going to make a lot of sense. We get obviously our introduction to Icarus, Fina, Ajax, and Phastos, pretty much all in that sort of, like 15 seconds, if that. Phastos was really cool. The whole sort of like conjuring of geometrical shapes and symbols. Icarus, very sort of like leader lookalike. Really enjoyed that. Fina obviously wielding her sword. I love that shot. Absolutely love that shot. I think that's been surfacing around for a very long time. Good fit, I think, for the characters all around, really.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be it's a really good cast. It's just going to be... I can't see... I could never see Marvel going wrong casting people, but, like, I can't see this going wrong. Like, I think it's just going to be, like, so good. Just based on the cast of characters alone. And the characters are, like... They're a lot cooler. Like, I didn't know... I feel like I have to, like, explain myself. Because I didn't know anything about them last week when we did this. And now that I know so much more about it, because I, like, did my research this time, I have become so much more excited to actually, like, see these characters and, like, figure out, like, what's kind of gonna happen with them, you know?
Yeah, like, we were both kind of putting them in, like, a specific box, like, with all their, like, very similar powers and things like that, but there's a lot more of a way to go about it to, you know, show that they are truly unique characters, even though they're a part of this, like, massive team. And I have no doubt that the fucking conglomerate that Disney is, that they will try and squeeze out a sort of one film for each character at some point, you know?
Maybe,
So, I don't know. I think the character development is really where I was kind of going. Like, not necessarily that they will do that, but I think they're just... they will develop the characters as much as possible and really get that introduction over the line, which is why I'm so happy about the origins being in there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think that is like definitely. I feel like the first half of the film. I don't know how they're gonna lay it out, but they'll either lay it out like the first half, or they'll lay it out like flashbacks, kind of, and like do like cut-ins to the past. You know, when it like fits. So I definitely think that we will at some point learn why every character is the way they are. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I feel like they could very easily do cut-ins to like people, like what Cersei's doing now with her mind wiped, and then it does flashback cuts to things that made her the way that she is, kind of thing, you know? Like things throughout history.
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel like they could do that easily with every character. It's just hard because there's so many characters. And then the entire film would just then be like everyone trying to remember their memories and then like explaining. So I don't think the entire film will be like that, but I feel like the main characters will do that. So like Icarus and Cersei and like
I think the Icarus and Cersei storyline is definitely going to be one of the most interesting, just from what I've been able to gauge by watching it back again. The trailer that is. I'm intrigued to see how that's going to play out in this film. But yeah, as well as you know, Kingo, I cannot wait to see. You know, it just looks like a very entertaining character.
He looks like
very much looking forward to.
Yeah, I think he is definitely going to be like comic relief a little bit as well, because like just like like pretentious, like I'm an actor, I get everything I want kind of thing is just gonna not fit well with like the people, like the other cast of characters. I feel like there's definitely gonna be some like funny butting of heads about that kind of stuff, but
yeah, definitely. There's a lot of stuff which I'm trying to just kind of like generalize that's kind of happened in the trailer, because I feel like it's obviously all uniquely appropriate. But basically the way to say it is, you know, kind of how much influence do you think that the Eternals have had on the MCU, you know, up to now? You know, we've got sort of like talks about vibranium that was given to Howard Stark. What's called the Egyptian setting that you see, is it Macquarie sitting in the throne? And you see all the different parts of like history. You've got a Holy Grail there. You've got a cat
I thought
sphinx.
That was a funny little like, Easter egg that they put in there.
There's loads and loads of little bits of history. You've got an English knight's armour as well. So, you know, it's showing that they're cultured in a way, you know? They're very spread out. They're very spread out over time. They know a lot about stuff, and go on.
I was just gonna say, I did see a theory that was like, what was it? Like, so it's either like Makari just like took things throughout history, or maybe it's like she went around and tried to find things when she was starting to remember her memories again, to kind of like help trigger memories from different parts of history, which I thought was really interesting, because there is the medieval knights armor, and then there's also the cut to the scene of them fighting medieval knights, like, and then there's like just like the things from Babylon and like the Dead Sea Scrolls, like that kind of stuff, like kind of connects. Like, I feel like it could be that's how she triggers her memories about things, which I think could be interesting.
That's an interesting way to do it.
But I don't know, I like that there's like a giant. And I didn't realize until I watched like a few times, that's actually the same room that Fastos was like doing the whole like thing in, where he was like making the thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
That's the same room. So I feel like that was him in the past, and then like either throughout history or when Makari's regaining her memories, that room fills up with a bunch of like things of history. So. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I do. Yeah. I think cool. In general. Sorry.
I was just saying. I think that was kind of cool.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of bits and bobs from that bit with Macquarie that you can kind of take into consideration. You know, whether it's kind of they've had a bit of a... Just turn that on silent, sorry. Whether it's that they've, you know, had a little bit of influence on them. The bit that, you know, I also wanted to touch on is the whole bit where, I believe it's Cersei, she's handing over a dagger. And there's, like, people have gone crazy about this tiny little interaction where she hands over a dagger where...
It's like a 2-second shot of her, like, handing a dagger. And there's, like, 8 different theories about what this could mean. Like, it's
and
so
it's like,
crazy.
oh, you know, this is how humans started producing their weapons, which I was like, whoa.
Or, like...
But I like it. I like that theory.
Do you want to touch on the Atlantis thing now? Because I did see...
Yeah, 100%.
I saw a theory about that. There is a character in the comics, I don't remember his name, but he's from Atlantis, and basically the whole theory is, like, that original land where they came to was Atlantis. Like, that was, like, primitive Atlantis, and then something happened that they caused it to sink into the ocean. So, about the dagger that she gave to whoever she gave it to is actually the top of this character, this other superhero, his spear.
Namor, isn't it?
Namor. Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So, the top of his
spear... It has,
spear,
like, a trident. Yeah.
Yeah. The top of it, like, the middle piece, is that dagger. Which I think is really a very interesting... I really hope that they bring Atlantis into it. I really do.
It would be huge. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I would love to see it. I just don't know where they would really begin, though. Like, is this the right time to kind of bring more in? Probably. I think there's loads of ways to kind of do it. You know, it's kind of making sense as there's other shots in that trailer as well where you kind of, you know, analysing the hell out of this trailer now. But, you know, volcano erupting, there's a shot of Sprite who is surrounded by, you know, sort of magma, lava, and it could just be that's where sort of Atlantis ended up going underwater. And it was a civilization that the Eternals couldn't save. There's so much that we don't know, and you know, Atlantis is a very obscure part of it. But oh my god, I would love to see that come true.
Oh my god, like, I've always been, like, fascinated with that kind of stuff. My camera's gonna cut out. Damn it. Oh, anyway, I do really like the thought that Atlantis could be a part of it. Oh, that was what I was gonna say. The only thing I don't get about the theory about Atlantis sinking because of the volcano is someplace sinking because of a volcano eruption. Like, I don't understand how, like, a volcanic eruption could make an entire city of people sink into the ocean, if that makes sense.
Well, it's just the fact that it could be the base of the land, you know? And it's just like, if that crumbles, if the foundations of it fall, then it's just going to go underwater.
True.
It's basically the same reason as how you get volcanoes that end up going underwater, you know?
Yeah.
It's because the base around it has fallen through.
And it
so
could
yeah,
just
I don't know.
or something, yeah. I'm thinking about. I'm trying to make it more realistic in my head right now. But I really.
But at the end of the day, like,
part
it's a Marvel production. It's going to be very unrealistic.
Well, yes, but I mean, they have to do it in a semi-realistic way, or else they can't really do it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know.
really hope Atlantis is a part of it. That's my final take on that.
Yeah. That's basically it. Okay. Another thing that I really am excited to touch on, there's more than one, but there's the Captain America shield cameo.
Yes. Yeah.
So you've got the first one when it's Fina with the sword and it's behind her, isn't it? And then the other one is where it's Kingo and there's two people with shields that look very similar to the Captain America shield.
Yes.
You know, the whole sort of design for the...
on his private jet or whatever the place where Sprite is like getting drunk, and there's like K's all over the seats, so I think it's like Kingo's jet or something. There is his original shield in the back of that too. Like the one, not the circle one. It's the one that's like actually a shield shape and it has the 3 stars.
Actually, a shield.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, this kind of goes back to the whole like influence bit. Do you reckon that there was vibranium? Because I'm pretty sure that Howard Stark has mentioned that he didn't get it from Wakanda. So do you reckon the Eternals were the originators of vibranium, that they gave it to maybe Wakandan and showed them how to use it? They gave it to or not necessarily Howard Stark, but somebody or Howard Stark, and he was able to work on it and create the shield of Captain America. Are they the sort of originators of it all? I really like that.
I like that theory. I also want to go back to the ship a little bit with that theory, because the ship does give me, like, you know how the beads that they had, like the bracelet beads, were like...
Yeah, I was going to say at the start, yeah.
Yeah.
It does give you very similar vibes, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Like, it's just kind of like the design within, like, a dark, like, thing. It does give me vibranium vibes. So, like, what if their ship is vibranium? What if they came because wasn't it like a meteorite that like hit Wakanda, and then it caused vibranium to like form there? Like that's why they have so much of it, was because there was a meteorite that hit there. Is that how that works?
Yeah,
I don't actually know.
I think so.
I feel like that's what it was. I don't know. But anyway, like what if they came from the planet that the meteorite, like that was from like a solar system near the meteorite that like hit Earth, you know? I don't know. I just think it's really cool. I think that
I think
the ship is vibranium. And I definitely think that if it is, they would have influenced at least Wakanda and like told them how to like forge things out,
how to farm
vibranium.
It, how to turn it into actual tools and equipment and technology, you know? They use it in their clothes. 100%. I think that's definitely the way that they've gone about things. We'll just have to wait and see really on that one. There hasn't really been any confirmation, but yeah, I 100% think that vibranium has like come from the Eternals in a way, and I look forward to kind of seeing that. We're going to go to Egypt real quickly, because we've seen a lot of sort of Egyptian settings. You've got the obviously Hanging Garden of Babylon, as well as all the other sort of like antiques from Egyptian culture.
Yeah.
You haven't seen X-Men still, I'm pretty sure, but
no.
there was the X-Men Apocalypse film a couple of years ago now. Now, Apocalypse is originally from Egyptian descent of some kind or something like that. And there has been kind of talk in how they're going to look at, DNA from, prehistoric times or ancient times all the way through to now, and tease that the, mutant genes are out and about. And I could think a small cameo, not potentially himself, but a mention or something of Apocalypse could very well be in this film.
I have some thoughts on the X-Men coming in. I think that they might tease them in this film. I think they might. I agree. The one thing was, this is like, I'm gonna have to like go into backstory a little bit, but basically, the Celestials, when they visit Earth, is like, it's called hosts. So the first host, they created the Deviants. The second host, they created the Eternals. And there's something I think it's in one of the comics where they actually implant humans with a gene that could then give them like powers if it's triggered.
Yeah.
So first of all, that could lead to the reason why Steve Rogers became a super soldier when the serum entered his body, because it triggered that gene, and then he became a super soldier.
Right.
But also, it could be the way that they introduce the X-Men into the MCU, because there's a third host that is supposed to happen, according to the comics, the Celestials will come back and they'll judge if humanity is worthy or not. So in the clip that we get of the big Celestial, I forget his name, there's a clip in Guardians of the Galaxy when they're, when they're like talking about the Power Stone?
Yeah, the one with the Power Stone, yeah.
Yeah. So in that clip, that's actually a Celestial destroying a planet. So it could be like they came back for their third host and they deemed that society not worthy. So if they deem our Earth worthy, they could then trigger the gene that creates mutants from X-Men.
Okay. Yeah,
that was
that's
like
an
a whole
interesting
long
one.
thing. But I think that is a very good way that they could introduce the X-Men into the MCU through the Eternals franchise kind of thing.
Yeah, I think there's potential for it. I don't know if they will introduce it. I think it is definitely going to be more of a tease. Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, I think that we spoke about this on the very first episodes of the podcast that we did, that the X-Men, when it eventually joins the MCU, is going to be a huge move. And it's just got to be done so well. But yeah, 100%. I think, talking about mutant genes and sort of like introducing them, it's a very, very good start as to how they're going to include the X-Men. I very much am looking forward to it. Yeah, so that's pretty much that. We're going to go to, there's obviously a shot where we see 3 of the Eternals obviously all linking up using their cosmic energy, which I think a lot of people have speculated that it's their sort of like production of the Unimind, all hovering as well and things like that. Do you reckon we'll see that in the film?
I think we have to. I think they'll do it at least once. I did see a theory that it was when they're trying to save whatever civilization gets ruined by that volcano, that's when they trigger the Unimind. That's the theory that I saw. So I don't, just because that is like on the same cliffside that they came to in the opening like scene of the trailer, I guess. Yeah. So I think that it is more likely that they've done it in the past and they won't do it in present time. But I don't know. Because what if the Deviants decide that the place where the Eternals or the Celestials came to like bring the Eternals or whatever, like what if they decide that that's the place that they want to face off in modern day, But I think that it's more likely that it'll happen in like a flashback or kind of like a, I don't know, I guess flashback, like a cutaway.
Yeah, I think a flashback actually probably does sound more likely thinking about it. I do need to do a little bit more research on the Unimind as general. But yeah, I think it is just a bit more of a more likely story. But then again, it's just, I don't know, I would just love to see it. I think that's a proper, Marvel nerd, MCU nerd moment in the cinema when it eventually comes around, So yeah,
you know what I just going back to Druig in the comics, like trying to become the Prime Eternal. I just realized he's in the middle of those 3 when they're creating the Unimind in that, or whatever they're doing, connecting their cosmic energy. So like, what if he actually gets their power? That could be interesting. I've seen theories that he's going to be the villain. I've seen theories that he's not going to be the villain, but he's also not going to willingly help them. Like, it's going to be really difficult for him to to bring him back to society. But I don't know.
We'll touch on Druig as we're kind of like talking about him, because I think Druig is such a mysterious character, really. Like, even still in the trailer, like, you can see that he's just a little bit off, looks a bit I don't know what the word is, just a bit sneaky, and the bit that really kind of like confuses me is not only does it look like he's joining a cult, but the sort of mind control games that he can play, and where you see all of the people, if you look very, very closely, you can see that their eyes have gone like a goldy yellow.
Yes.
And I love that. I love that he's kind of he's creating his own army in a way.
Yeah. I think that that's really interesting. I'm trying to think of the guy that he reminds me of, like the actor. He reminds me
He
kind
reminds
of
me of, do you know
Ren.
Fantastic Beasts?
Fantastic Beasts. Yes! Yes! That's who it is.
Yeah? Right. That's
who I was thinking
Is it
of.
actually him?
I
Or it
don't
just
think
reminds
it
you
is
of him? I don't think it is
Who
him. But
is
yeah,
that?
he really reminds me of
Yes!
him. It's that very same look of the
Yeah.
character where something's not all what it should be.
Yeah. That's exactly who I was trying to think of. I forgot his name.
Mm-hmm.
Credence? Will Credence.
Yeah.
From
Credence, yeah.
yeah, Fantastic Beasts. I don't know the actor's name. But that was who I was trying to Yes. Yeah. That was the exact person
I
that I was
definitely
like,
saw
he
that,
looks just like him. And it gives me
Yeah.
like and it's him and Kylo Ren. Like the kind of tortured, like trying to do the right thing but also not really, even though this character is like kind of the opposite of that, you know?
Right, yeah.
Where he's like not doing the right thing. I don't know where I was going with that, but
Yeah.
it was just like a parallel that I got. It was like those three characters just kind of like came together in my mind when I saw him and like the whole
I mean, I guess
thing.
I guess the question that I kind of want to pose though is, because of what we've seen so far and what we know about the character and what we've seen from him in the trailer, is how much do we really believe that Droog is hiding, you know? How much is he actually hiding from the other Eternals?
I don't know. That was kind of the theory that I was talking about, where he controls the Unimind and he makes them forget. And then something triggers them and they remember, and then they go and find him and they're like, yo, why did you do this to me?
Why? You need to sort this.
Yeah, and then I also saw another theory that he's in the woods because, you know how Cersei, I think it's Cersei, someone makes a tree disappear at one point. Someone said that there's someone had a theory that she was hiding that forest where he was from humanity. Either so he can't control humanity, or so that he's like locked away, kind of thing, you know?
Okay.
There's so many different theories around him.
Yeah.
And I think he's just such a fascinating character already. There's like so much
he is.
that could possibly happen with him.
Yeah, 100%. Did you think that the setting where he shows up with this alleged cult,
Yes.
do you think it was very similar to the very small passage where Loki travels back in time in the trailer?
Which part? I don't know.
It's
I
a
don't know.
very
I have to
obscure
rewatch
part,
it.
like, because I tried to look into it as much as possible to try and work out where it was. It looked like there was a bit of a festival, but it was like woodlands, and it was very similar clothing to what the characters in the Eternals trailer were wearing. So that was just another sort of Loki mention, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, there was that, and then there was the, it looked like it was Mount Vesuvius that was kind of erupting behind Loki in one of the trailers. I don't know how accurate it is being the same volcano. Could just be.
I genuinely don't think it is the same volcano.
Yeah.
But I think that I don't know. There is a possibility. But the only thing is, Loki comes out so much sooner than the Eternals does. If they were coming out around the same time, I would say it's definitely a tie-in.
I
don't
suppose,
think that they're really going to tie in anything just because Loki comes out like 4 months before. You know?
Yeah, true.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Like I did see that theory and I liked that theory. I want to see Loki and everything. Honestly, I love Loki, but I don't think he's going to be.
Yeah, no. I think it is, like we were saying, a lot of this is kind of grasping at straws, and I feel that Yeah, Loki references are a bit far-fetched just because it's like you said, like
Yeah.
one is in 2 weeks' time, the other is in November. It's a good
Yeah.
5-6 months away. But the setting, definitely, I'll try and find a picture of it and send it over to you. It does
Yeah.
look kind of similar. Similar sort of like time period as well, what like I was saying with the clothing. So yeah, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see really for Loki to where that location really is. Maybe
Yeah.
it is just the same location but at a different time and when there's not
It
a cult
could
there and
be.
things like that because
The thing
that shot
about
with
the
Droog
cult
looks
is,
very, very dark.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing about the cult is, though, I think that is modern time. Even though they're dressed like kind of old timey,
Hmm.
I think like it's modern times and he's just trying to like make them not rely on technology. It kind of gave me like West Virginia vibes. Don't ask
Okay.
me why. That's just what I think West Virginia looks like. but, but like it's just kind of like a society cut off from the rest of the world, like like rural Appalachia, where like the Appalachian
Hmm.
Mountains, it's just like random people. I think I sent you like a TikTok about that, where there's like towns of people that are like only 100 people live there. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's very like that's the vibe that I got from that little cult situation. I'm not saying that
Okay.
cults are in West Virginia. I'm just saying that the setting of it gave me West Virginia vibes.
Yeah.
I feel like I needed to clarify
Okay.
that.
That's fair. Okay, we're just going to speed through a couple more things. The Icarus and Cersei montage that you get very shortly after
Yeah.
the entire cult bit with Droog. That was very interesting. I love that people are analysing the hell out of this because you can see that Icarus is very clearly a lot more into Cersei than Cersei is into him. And then you eventually get the shot with... What's his name?
Dane Whitman.
Dane Whitman. That's one.
Yes.
Dane
And
Whitman.
the thing about Dane Whitman is too, I'm pretty sure I saw that Dane Whitman and Cersei, they're together in the comics. Like that's canon in the comics, and I don't think Icarus and Cersei are canon in the comics. So
Right, okay.
that's going to be interesting. That also tied in with the song that was playing at the end, or
Right.
not at the end, in the beginning, really, about the end of the world, because it is a breakup song.
Right,
and-
okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I hate love
I
triangles.
think it's going to be a big part of the actual film. The whole
know.
Icarus and Cersei splitting, yeah.
And I don't want it to be. I want her to be just a main female character that doesn't have to have a man. Like, can we
I thought
please
that's where
just
you were
get
going,
one?
yeah.
Please? Like, also, this is a side note. From the descriptions that we were reading last week, I thought Cersei and Thena were together. So I was really upset to find out that it was Cersei and Icarus. I was really upset about it. I was like, damn, we're really just gonna not do that. Okay.
Gemma Chan and Angelina Jolie would have made a perfect couple.
Right? Right? Oh my god. Anyway. I really was hoping that they were together. I don't know. Like, something about their character descriptions and the way that they were supposed to interact made me think that they were going to be together. But, you know, it is Disney, and they take a while on that. Although Fastos is gay. So, we're taking a step in the right direction.
Yeah, that was a nice little addition, I think. Okay, this is pretty much the last one from me. Just because you get a very small shot during Kingo's bit. So,
I wanted to touch on Dane Whitman before we moved on. Because we didn't talk about him, like, at all. But the origins of his character, like the Black Knight, I find them to be really interesting. So basically, the sword that he's supposed to wield is called the Ebony Blade, and it was forged from a meteor by Merlin. Like, King Arthur's Merlin.
Oh, okay. I missed that bit. I've heard of the Ebony Blade, but yeah, I didn't realize. Okay.
Yeah, this was in like a different like breakdown that I watched, but basically it just went into the origins of what the Black Knight was. And I figured we should talk about it in this episode because we didn't talk about it last time. But
Of course.
basically the blade, like, the blade moves throughout history, and the Black Knight is reincarnated by, like, different humans throughout history. So it's not the same person every time. But what's going to happen with Dane Whitman is he's going to, since he's, like, Cersei's love interest, they meld their souls together, basically, and she gives him eternal powers. So he becomes, like, a proxy eternal, if that makes sense. So I just thought that was really interesting, and I know that I'm going to like him more than I'm going to like Icarus. I hate love triangles because they're stupid, but I do think that he's going to be... I feel like they're going to make him more likable anyway. I don't know what they're going to do with Icarus. I feel like they're going to make him, like, really broody and sad and, like, just depressing. And, like, he's going to be, like, the leader, but he's going to need to be, like, saved or whatever. Like, I don't know.
He'll be fine because he's going to end up leading the Avengers.
No.
I don't know. I enjoyed that joke.
But anyway, I do think it was decent, I won't lie. But I do think that Dane Whitman's character, especially his, like, character development, is going to be really interesting. There was a theory that I saw about him that he is actually the reason why they get their memories back. I don't remember really how the theory goes, but basically he gets the Ebony Blade. There's also possibly a tie-in to Doctor Strange, because in the comics, Doctor Strange helps him find the Ebony Blade. So I think that's really interesting. And he also helps him through it because he kind of goes crazy. But I think the going crazy from the Ebony Blade is kind of how he might get, like, the Eternals history.
Approval.
I guess.
Right.
No, not even just that.
Okay.
Like, he might just get, like, flashbacks to, like, random things that the Eternals did, and he'll be like, I'm going crazy, like, I don't know what this is. But then he somehow finds out, like, he somehow finds the Eternals and then is able to bring their memories back. It's kind of like a far-fetched theory, but I thought that one was really interesting, and I wanted to touch on that. But yeah, that's all I had on him.
No, I like it.
I am gonna love
just
his
don't
character
know.
as well. But anyway, continue.
Yeah. No, I just don't know how much they're going to prioritize it on Dane Whitman. I don't know. No, they probably will, but like the whole potential of a Doctor Strange cameo and him actually possessing the Ebony Blade by the end of the film, I don't know. I don't know if they'll go that far. I think he will be introduced as a character and as the love triangle when he's still human. Whether he'll go to the whole sort of the eternal powers passed on to him or not, I'm not too sure.
I think that they will. Just because, first of all, the Ebony Blade is the whole reason why Cersei finds him in the first place. Whether she remembers her memories or not, I'm pretty sure the Ebony Blade is what brings them together. So, in that sense, I do think that he's going to get the blade, first of all, because it's his literal only power. And, like we were talking about last time, he's literally just a guy with a sword. So, but yeah, what was it? I lost my train of thought. Anyway, I do think that he's going to get a little bit of backstory, because also the flashback to the burning woods and the soldiers and stuff like that is very medieval times, which could be the origins of the Ebony Blade.
Okay.
That could be a flashback that he gets when he gets it. That just came in my head.
I can see that.
But, like, the terror that the Ebony Blade has caused kind of thing, you know? Like, people who...
Yeah, of course.
Like, power falling into the wrong hands kind of story. But, yeah. I just think it's going to be a very interesting character arc.
100%. I look forward to seeing Dane Whitman and the progression of him. I love a bit of drama, so I can't wait to see the love triangle. But, it should be fun. But,
I always pick the
yeah.
one that
Anyway,
everyone
we're going to
hates
move on.
too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So the last bit of the trailer that we can really like properly analyse, or at least the last bit of the trailer that I analysed, was just the bits that feature Kingo.
Yeah.
You know, we get to see him in a sort of very small Bollywood production. There was the Captain America cameo, Shield cameo that we mentioned earlier, and you know, it kind of looked a little bit like a Bollywood version of the Captain America show. But then straight after that, you kind of see Kingo slicing and dicing what some people seem to believe is a minotaur. And that kind of leads on to the whole, are the deviants, are they all mythological creatures here on Earth?
I think that is very, very accurate. I think that what was I going to say? So I heard a lot of things, and it's actually kind of confirmed that it is this way, because the Eternals represent the gods, and the deviants represent our monsters, our devils, our, like, I don't know what else, like, just like the crazy, like, horrible monsters throughout history.
Outlandish things, the folklore that we've created over the years and years.
I think they definitely have a lot of basis to, like, they have a lot to base that off of, specifically with Gilgamesh, because that is literally the oldest epic in the entire world. Like, that is, like, in reality, Gilgamesh is the oldest poem about, like, an epic, like, guy who saves the world from, like, or I don't even remember what it's really about, but, like, he basically fights monsters and whatever. Like, that is the oldest story in the entire world about that, and there is a character named Gilgamesh.
Okay.
But I definitely think that the deviants are the monsters of our cultures and our history. What else was I going to say about that? I did see a theory that possibly, because it was kind of in the same place as the Druid cult thing, I saw a theory that Druid is actually controlling that deviant.
Ah, okay.
Which I think would be very interesting. That goes along with Druid being the kind of antagonist, like the villain of this story. But I think that was a very interesting theory. So I thought I might as well tell you about it.
Yeah, no, I love that. I hadn't thought too much into that. I just like the idea that the deviants are around on Earth and the Eternals are there to fix it. And I think it would be very cool if they're the mythological creatures, but the Droog kind of, you know, controlling them, I think would be brilliant. I really hope that comes true, as well as them just being the mythological creatures.
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense. I really feel like they're going to build up Droog to be a villain character, you know, in this movie, and
even just like
I'm
an anti-hero kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna love this character.
Seeing him.
I've only said it like 10 times.
Okay, that's all that I've got. Have you got anything else that you'd like to add at all?
The only other thing I was gonna say was, it was about the dinner scene when they're sitting at the table. Sprite mentions Captain Rogers, and I saw two theories about that.
Yeah.
One is that she's just mentioning him as she knew him originally, which was as Captain Rogers before he became Captain America, kind of thing, like in the 1940s. And the other one was the fact that Sprite might be up to date on the fact that there's a new Captain America with Falcon becoming Captain America.
Right,
so,
okay.
I just thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
But I've seen so many people break down just that one line. Because not only does she not say dead when she's talking about Captain Rogers being gone, which might allude to the fact that he might just be really old somewhere, like living somewhere else. But yeah. I just thought it was really cool.
No, yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting one to kind of see Sprite's whole interaction with all of the characters. I think in this movie, I really think that it could be the whole sort of like mind wipe theory that could come true, and that she's just having to catch everybody up. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
interesting mention about Captain Rogers. I think the fact that she has kind of stuck with it. Like, I know she's not a young person, but she's young faced and
looking. Yes,
I can kind of see that they would stay up to date with everything. So yeah, very much looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the way that they'll go about things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching this podcast episode. Please be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new to the YouTube channel. And yeah, we will be back here next week with our Loki preview, a couple of things to touch on and theories as well as that. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Bye.